Story 1. I dated a married woman and want to break up her marriage. Feel like this is a tale as old as time, but it's like one of those stories where two people just somehow manage to never cross paths at the right time, despite having many mutual close friends. Seems like it would be easiest to just blame everything on COVID lockdowns that changed all of our patterns during the times we would have crossed paths. I never imagined myself getting into a situation like this, but here we are. We met a few months ago, and from the first time I knew this could be trouble. I couldn't take my eyes off of her. Since we were the only ones who didn't know each other out of the group, our friends immediately told me about how she was married. The sanctity of marriage is a boundary I never wanted to cross. It's too hurtful to the other parties involved. Yet here I am as a single guy recounting the story of me breaking that line. It just so happened that we'd seen each other multiple times as a group in a short span of time. I felt like I had to actively avoid her while also seeming friendly in the group setting. I didn't know what to think of it. I told myself not to get involved, but something was pulling me in. We started texting here and there about different random things, and soon enough we had made dinner plans. I truly didn't think anything of it. I'm platonically friends with many girls, and so I figured this would just be another one of those. It wasn't. No matter what the topic was, our conversations flowed like a gushing river. We had just met, yet nothing was awkward and no topic was off the table. I figured that was the end, that we wouldn't ever go beyond going to great restaurants and bars together. After a while, it was clear that this had become an emotional affair. Our texts, our dinners, these were all things that were beyond what platonic friends would do, but yet we never crossed the physical boundary. Until we did. The first time we crossed the physical line, I was having a terrible day. I'd received some disappointing news about my professional career and was planning on going to eat something good and hit up a nice bar as comfort. She texted me that same day asking if I wanted to get dinner after she finished a meeting in my area. Of course, I said yes, and now I had a partner to wallow with me in my misery. Partway through eating and drinking, I told her that I'm in a worse state than it probably seems and not to let me do something stupid. We did something stupid. We went to a bar after the restaurant and ended up kissing. I told her I couldn't do this. She agreed, and we went our separate ways. After many hours of hungover contemplation, I sent her a long message that was meant to be the end. I knew that the more I heard from her, the deeper my feelings would get. She told me I can't just do that and run away. She needed closure. She asked to crash at my house for a couple hours in between meetings to recover from the drinking. I hesitated at first, but eventually relented. I have an extra bedroom and I'd be working, so no harm, no foul. And there truly was nothing that happened. I let her sleep, she ordered some food, and then went on her way. We didn't really talk much. We were both in too much physical misery. I thought that was the end. Deep down, I knew I didn't want it to be the end, but I honestly thought it would be. By the time she got caught, we had been dating for a couple of months. She had fell asleep on her couch with our text chat open. Just the day before, we had deleted our message history for the first time. Coincidence? The night before, I had a dream that she had gotten caught. I woke up a few times in the middle of the night to check my phone. By the time I had awoken in the morning, the texts were there. All of the holidays, Christmas, New Year's, while we spent them apart, I had taken solace in the fact that she was texting me, interested in me, concerned about me. The last time I saw her was about a week before the incident. I haven't seen her in nearly a month. We don't plan to see each other one-on-one again in the future, but we will when our friend groups get together. They say that there's something chemical when two people are attracted to each other. For me, this was that level. Her smell. I had never experienced anything like it, but it was so attractive to me. It didn't matter what she wore, where she went, or what we did. It had been a long time since I was that happy just being around someone, and it seems she truly felt the same way. A common trope in all of these cheating stories is that if they cheat with you, they'll cheat on you. I'm constantly learning that life isn't that simple or binary. I had very little on the line and she had everything to lose. I'm just a single guy who got himself into the wrong situation. She had a marriage and all that comes with that to worry about. I know for a fact that she doesn't get involved with me if the feelings weren't there. She said she loved me and I loved her. In fact, if I'm all the way honest, I'm probably still in love with her. For my insecurities, I often asked her why she was getting involved with me. She joked that if it just to have an affair, she could get plenty of guys, something that's very true. When she said that and grabbed my arm, I knew the feelings were real. I haven't had a very successful love life, and people are surprised when I tell them that. To them, a consistently fit, visible abs level, accomplished, secure person like me should have an easy time finding a girlfriend. I have a house, I cook, clean, am well kept and well dressed. Basically, all of the things that someone says would better your dating prospects. Of course, I know the fact that I'm insanely picky with choosing my romantic interests is the main reason why I'm generally single. Here's the really true off-my-chest portion. I hold all the cards to end her marriage. I honestly don't know how she reconciled it with her husband. She told me his initial reaction was that they needed to divorce, but she managed to keep it together, so far. I want to break up her marriage, but I know I'd never be able to ruin her marriage without her knowing I caused it. I doubt she'd want to be with me after that. There's no game plan to success here, only increased pain and hurt for all the parties involved. I doubt I'll ever do it, but the breakup was so abrupt and it's recent enough that it's still on my mind. I don't need to hear that I'm a crappy person. I've told myself that enough times. Some people say good people sometimes do crappy things, but without a consistent history, it doesn't define who they are. Others will say that I've done one of the most despicable things possible. Like I learned, the answer probably lies somewhere in between, but that doesn't make me feel any better. It'd be easy if I knew we'd never see each other again, but that's unfortunately not a likely reality given our friend group's closeness. I honestly don't know why I'm typing all of this out, but maybe I'm hoping it'll help me find true closure. Don't break up her marriage. Don't try to figure out a way to break up her marriage, because you have to respect her decision in this, and you have to respect that if she does want to stay with her husband, and her husband's okay with that, and they're working on it and making it work, that's her choice. She's made the choice. She's chosen not to be with you. And you don't know that she's in love with you. Maybe it's an infatuation. Maybe something was going on in their marriage. Who knows? But if they're willing to work it out, then she's made her choice, and you need to let that go. And I say this as someone who has been the other guy. I have. It's true, and I don't feel good about it, and it's just not a great... Nothing about it is great. And yeah, I guess it's in a gray area, but just don't. Just leave it be. Because you have to respect her choice. That's what people who love other people do. You respect their choices. So just because you're obsessed with her doesn't mean you have a right to try and break up her marriage. Just leave it alone and move on. It's for the best. Story 2. I got a positive pregnancy test, and I haven't slept with a male in 6 years. I'm freaking out. I'm scared that I either have some crazy form of cancer or was ARD, or that I'm crazy and had intercourse that I don't remember. I'm a 23 female and a lesbian. Not very intimately active, but have intercourse with girls I'm sort of seeing about twice a month. She is a cisgendered woman, and there's no possible way she could get me pregnant, just to be clear. The last time I had intercourse with a male that I remember was in high school 6 years ago. I'm 5'3", 140 pounds. I think I'm healthy. I take Zoloft and sometimes use non-prescription allergy medicine, but I don't think those things are relevant. I started throwing up occasionally maybe a month ago, and I wasn't really worried about it and thought I just had a stomach bug. I went to a walk-in clinic this morning because it was getting better, and they told me I'm pregnant. I explained that I can't be pregnant, and they said I must be. I don't really keep track of my periods, but I'm not sure if I've had one in a couple of months. I'm scheduled to see a gynecologist next Friday to confirm the pregnancy, but I'm scared and want answers now. I've been reading that there are some kinds of cancer that can cause a positive pregnancy test, but I can't find a lot of information about them. Can anyone tell me how likely that is? The only other possibility is last November I had been drinking at my friend's house where a bunch of us got together to watch a football game, and I don't drink and drive, so I slept on their couch. I didn't drink all that much, I think 3 drinks, so I shouldn't have blacked out. My friends whose house I stayed at are a male-female couple. I texted my male friend asking him if we had intercourse or something, and if I was just so drunk I don't remember it, and he was very confused and upset and said he wouldn't cheat on his wife or have intercourse with someone who was that drunk. I want to trust my friend, but the thing I'm really scared of is that my friend AR'd me and is lying and that I didn't even know it. Well, that's definitely nerve-wracking because it sounds like there are likely no great outcomes to what's happening here. Best I can say is, in this situation, wait for your gynecologist appointment. Get some confirmation, of what is really happening here. If it is really a pregnancy, then yeah, you need to, talk to some folks you trust, get things checked out or whatever. I feel like that is very important. And if it's not a pregnancy and some kind of false pregnancy, hopefully it's something that can be treated and dealt with. But I think the most important thing here is to not get too worked up, wait for an actual doctor to tell you some information, because you don't want the stress of the flood. I don't know that I'd even go to the internet for this and get all the different comments, because everyone's going to have different theories. And that is so much to mentally deal with when you have not concrete answers, but at least more information up and coming. So I hope everything is worked out okay. Story 3. My family asked me to move back with them because of household chores. I'm so confused right now, but I want to tell you what happened. I live in Europe and grew up with 2 older sisters. My mom was a real estate agent and made way more than my dad, and when my sisters were born, he quit his job to become a stay-at-home dad. I loved that. My dad and I had such a great connection. Of course, he loved my sisters just as much, but he was the one who taught me everything useful. He taught me how to cook, clean, and taking care of the household, and I have no idea why, but I thought it was fascinating. What am I supposed to say? I was a child. Haters would say the roles in our family were reversed. My mom wanted my sisters to work for her when they got older, and that one of them eventually takes over the business. And in the meanwhile, my dad died of a heart attack. Financially, it wasn't such a big deal since my mom was the breadwinner anyway, but emotionally it tore all of us apart, especially me. But being his student, I took over the household at 15. I did it casually for many years, so nothing much changed for my sisters and my mom, and they were always appreciative and loving of me, so nothing to complain. Of course, in the meanwhile, I wanted to do something myself, so I started to study computer science. Little side note, in my country, tuition is free as long as you're accepted into the university, so we didn't have to pay anything for my studies, and when I finished it, I started working full-time in the IT section of a company that produces polymers and made decent money. Keeping the systems running. And I moved out of the house only a few weeks ago, and when I visited a few days ago, the house looked like a mess. Like no one had cleaned in the last few weeks. Unwashed plates laid in the kitchen sink, and I don't even want to start with the toilet, let alone their bedrooms. Apparently, my mom was way too busy to take care of it, so she expected my sisters to do it. And while they were talented in other ways, keeping the house clean wasn't one of them. My mom and sisters asked me to move back with them. I refused, but offered to teach my sisters how to do the chores. Again, I'm not here to complain, it's just so absurd and way too funny that I can't keep this to myself. Hey Mom, if you make enough money, just hire a maid service. I'm not joking. I'm sure that there has to be something in your area that maybe just like a once a week thing. Can't be that expensive, you're making those big real estate bucks. Come on. Or, I don't know, just there's 3 of you to divide up all the chores between. I would imagine you can probably get it done without requesting that your adult child move back in with you and become your household cleaner again. What? Holy cow. I can't. Story 4. Am I the a-hole for not wanting my siblings to be in my wedding party? I, 24 female, just recently got engaged to my partner, 26 male, of 6 years. Since the very beginning, both of us have always wanted a somewhat smaller wedding, less than 100 people. We don't have a lot of family we're close to or that still live in state, and neither of us have a lot of friends. Pretty soon after getting engaged, we started talking about wedding parties. My fiance's ex was very controlling, and he was not allowed to have any friends other than her when he was dating her for all of high school, so nowadays he only really has one close friend in state. We wanted to have a respectful wedding party size to accommodate for this. We decided on 5 people on each side. We also both have one friend on the opposite gender. He has one girl on his side, I have one boy on my side, per side. Here's the catch. None of those people being listed ended up being my siblings. I have 3 siblings, 26 female, 20 female, and 19 male. I've always been closest with my older sister. Growing up, she was always the one I wanted to hang out with, and I still lean on her a lot to this day. I'm not close with my younger sister. We shared the same room growing up, but fought nearly every single day. We're still not close. We'll talk whenever she comes into town, but we don't actively message each other more than necessary. My brother and I weren't super close until more recently when he was struggling a lot in school and with his mental health. Both of our sisters moved out of the city, so I was the only person who was really there for him, and it made us closer for it, but now has a boyfriend, so he doesn't talk to me as much as he was before. He also has a lot of very strong views that neither my fiance or I believe in, which tend to cause some tension. In a perfect world where no one's feelings got hurt, I would put my older sister in my wedding party, but not my two younger siblings. Being that our wedding parties are currently only made up of 5 people on each side, if I added all 3 of my siblings, they would take up over half my side. I don't love my siblings any less, but I've always been under the impression that the people that stand up for you at your wedding are the people who are closest to you and share the closest bond with you. I would still want all of my siblings to be involved with all the wedding things, like the bachelorette party and whatnot. They just wouldn't be standing up with me. Since I can't just add my older sister without hurting my younger siblings' feelings, I made the decision to not have any of them in my wedding party. My fiance and I wrote up a mock list of each person on what side and barely scrapped up enough people to get 5 people together for him. Once I made up my list, I wanted to ask my siblings how they would feel if they weren't in the wedding party, so it wasn't like I was springing it on them. So I sent out a message to my older sister asking her if she would be offended if she wasn't in the wedding party, and she said not only would it offend her, but it would be really hurtful. I tried to reason with her and explain that if I added her, I would have to also add the 2 younger siblings on top of that. I know she will not want to wear a dress, so I also explained that I wanted my wedding to be uniform and that my bridesmaids would be wearing dresses with the exception of the one man. I told her I would rather her be able to be comfortable in a suit all night rather than uncomfortable in a dress and makeup but in my wedding party. Well, apparently she took great offense to that and just responded, "Wow," and now she won't talk to me. To try and appease her, I attempted to sit down and add them to my wedding party, making it now 8 people on both sides. The problem now is my fiance doesn't have any other friends. He can only come up with 7 people to put in the party, and that's if he's really stretching out to other people. So, do I keep trying to figure out how to get another person on my fiance's side? Do I take one of my bridesmaids out of the wedding and make it 7 instead? Or would I be the a-hole for telling my siblings I'm sorry, but they just can't be in the wedding party? Okay, this strikes me as a little bit odd because in a number of the weddings that I've been to, I guess more for just the tradition of having, the groom has the groomsmen and the bride have the bridesmaid, and they must always be the women on one side and the men on the other. And so I've seen like the bride's brother as one of the groomsmen, or, a groomsman, the groom's sister as one of the bridesmaids. So you could just do it that way. I don't feel like you need no, these are my representatives. They stand for the nation of me. And I don't know, I just feel like it's nice to be able to, and it's your decision. That's fine. But when you have a special day and everything, I don't know, it feels kind of important to involve family and everything. Though, for my sister's wedding, one way that she worked things out is I was the officiant. Haha! So I was kind of in the wedding party. I was the glue holding everything together. So, I don't know, maybe do that? I don't got any more advice. Story 5. Ex-friend feels entitled to a friendship after doxing and harassing myself and others online. Okay, I need to get this off my chest, and I don't know if it belongs here, but I'm honestly considering going to the police over this situation. So, I had a friend, let's name him EF for Entitled Friend. Entitled Friend and I have been friends for a while, and things have been rocky, but I think our friendship has reached a point of no return. I should probably note that we both live in Australia, but because we live in different states, it's an online friendship. This is a similar case to most of the people involved in this drama. This all started when he joined a Discord server where my friends and people in an online tech community I'm active in like to hang out, talk about tech, send memes, etc. Because we have had issues in the past of people sending explicit content on the server, we need people to be active for a while in order to be able to send pictures in the server. I promise you these details are important. Entitled Friend thought that sending images in general chat was a right and proceeded to constantly annoy and threaten moderators in the server over it. When they refused to give the role, EF somehow found their phone number and started spam calling them with no caller ID. This is when someone finally banned him. When I confronted Entitled Friend about the issue, he sent me a very kind message saying that I'm R for believing them, and when I send them screenshots, they sent me an audio message saying that it was all a joke and then wishing death upon me. I'll try to type out what he said without revealing too much info. F's sake, OP, YK that crap, I was saying, what a effing joke. YKW, I hope you dare from someone who destroyed my mental health last year. I proceeded to block them, and things are just getting worse. My friends are now getting spam calls daily. I don't even know how he got our phone numbers. I'm getting calls from him with a mix of burner numbers and no caller ID, trying to fix the friendship while trying to gaslight me. When I hung up, he called again, and I threatened him with a restraining order if he keeps this up. He blocked me, but is still spam calling my friends over the incident. Yeah, go to the police. All of you, go to the police and report him, because this does not feel like a great person. No, why would you want to be friends with this person in the first place or ever again? Yeah, no, of course not. Get the police. This is a person who is disturbing to me. Also, to the people who do this, why? Like, I genuinely don't understand your mindset. Like, you understand that people don't like you. Like, what's your goal? To get back in with them and be like, they finally let me back into the club. This club of people who don't like me. But I'm gonna bug them and spend my free time bugging them instead of spending my free time just connecting with people in a nice way and being friends and being happy and not making other people miserable because I'm a human being and I shouldn't just delight in being an absolute cretin. I don't understand what your end goal is, and I don't think you do either. Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.